Today is the 20th use of the Nacet Blade that I have in the razor. Definitely, it's twice as far as I've taken any other blade. So here's the Blackbird dart. I'm sorry, Blackland dart. The Blackbird is its more aggressive brother. This is the machined version, aka the matte version. The handle is just gorgeous. The head has a few parts that kind of still have machine marks and things like that, especially the underside of the head. But I think they add to its character. And the good thing about it is you can turn this into a polished version with just a few tools. Buffing compound, that kind of thing. The soap that I'm using this month is Williams Mug Shaving Soap. Been around for a very long time. It has a bad rap for having junky lathers, and I can see why. For the last few days I've been using a mug to generate the lathers, and I've been kind of trying to do it in a in a faster way, like one might do if one were in a hurry in the morning. I've already figured out how to get really slick, thick, cushiony, luxurious lathers when using a bowl. It's not fast, but it competes with just about any other soap out there for a fraction of the price. This is the Boar brush we're using this month, and the Whipped Dog is the 24mm Boar brush that I have. He's maybe 21 uses old, so he's about the same age as the blade in uses. I like it a lot. It does have a little bit of backbone to give you some good scrub and that kind of thing, but no scritch at all. Nice soft tips, and a lot of these haven't even split yet, so it's going to get even better in the future. At least most boars do that. After the shave, Afta the shave. This is the fresh scent. I wish I would have gotten the original, but oh well. And it's not bad. It's a little on the feminine side, but it does go away after a while. It seems to hydrate pretty well. I just recently learned about parabens, and some people say that as long as you don't have an allergy for parabens, then contact type allergy, then you're fine. But there's some other studies about it combining with some of the types of UV light coming in from the sun to kind of promote aging, and even some worse things like that, an aged look, you know, after a while. So I don't know. All right, I think we are good. I've showed you everything. Here is the cool Old Spice mug, and it's got the Williams puck in it, and I put 2 teaspoons of water on it 6 minutes ago, just kind of before I started prepping things. Yesterday, I'm going to repeat yesterday's performance, except I'm going to change one thing. I'm going to lengthen the loading time to 90 seconds instead of 60 seconds. So here we go. Get my face wet. A little bit of cool water. I do have hard water. Oh man, I forgot to, while I was talking, I usually put my Boar brush in my little jar so that it can be softening up with a little bit of water. So I'm going to have to, 7 minutes it's now been blooming, so I'll be back with you in 3 minutes after that brush has had a chance to soften up. I've got a couple more minutes until that brush is done soaking, and I wanted to convey. I think my soap quantity was actually pretty good last time with the 60-second load. The problem was the first pass was just so airy. It was slick, thin and slick, but really airy. It was didn't protect me very well from the blade. It felt a little bit rough. It didn't stir up anything in terms of irritation, but it just wasn't enjoyable. And it also bled over, that feeling bled over into the second pass. Now the third pass, it was nice and creamy and good and awesome. It wasn't great, but it was much improved. And so we'll see what adding a little bit of 30 seconds extra of soap. But the thing is, I never had to go back to the puck. I don't know if I'm going to end up with extra soap. One thing I may try to do is that airy lather that kind of comes up from the mug. Maybe I'll try to just run that down the sink, you know. Who knows? All right. Almost time. We got about 30 more seconds, so I'll pause you. Okay, there's your 3-minute soak for the brush. And the soap has ended up to be soaking for a little over 10 minutes. All right, so now let us load the brush. I do have hard water and it is cold. So I'm going to sling all the water off so we can have a good baseline. There is still water on the puck. Some has been absorbed, some has not. All right, so we're going to go for, we're about to hit the 30 mark. There we go. All right, so I started at 6:30, and so we're going to stop at 8 minutes. Stop loading at 8 minutes and just see what happens. I don't think I'm going to throw away the watery soap. I might do that next time and just see if that helps me out. I think I've seen somebody do that in the past. All right, so there's 30 seconds. If you don't want to watch this full normal speed, you can speed it up in YouTube. Get that little tool bar, tool gear looking icon in the bottom right of the YouTube thing. Unless this video is now old and you're watching it years later and they've changed their interface. But anyway, there's a speed option. You can change that to 1.5 times the normal speed, and so it'll take less time to watch me stir soap. 10 more seconds now. But you'll still be able to understand my words usually, unless I'm talking fast. And there we go. That's a 90-second load. Actually, that's better than the 60-second load in terms of the appearance of the lather. Take a look at that. It's not a lot of bubbles compared. It was just really light and airy, big bubbles. I mean, you still see some bubbles right there, but that's nothing compared to the 60-second load. Apparently, the extra time just allowed the lather to gain a little bit more soap into its concentration. All right, we'll put that aside. Let's try it out. I'm going to wet my face one more time. All right, let's do it. This looks like I might have some flyers as I start to build this up. But we'll see. Get my shirt all soapy and messed up. As you can see, I'm pressing in just a little bit to get a little bit of splay. I feel like if I don't press in this much, there's enough, the backbone is kind of low on this brush, and so I don't think it would get a very good scrub if I didn't put it down press it in this much. So we're cleaning my face, removing oils, tiny debris getting the soap and the brush tips in and amongst the hairs, follicles, to try to lift them up so that they'll be ready to get cut. I'm going to switch to painting now. Look at all that lather on the brush. Who knows, maybe this is the mix. Now let's try to kind of get the excess back onto the brush. I guess that might be the best I do because I'm going to need that for later passes. One nice thing about the polished version of this razor, it's got kind of a can you hear that? The polishing, this is the machine version. The polishing is more smooth. The machine still has the machine marks, and as such, it's almost like a tiny record, and you can almost hear the audio there. And what those are micro grooves that you can't really see with the human eye. Look, it's kind of dissipating, getting light. This is probably not going to be an enjoyable shave. Let's just see what happens. But anyway, those micro grooves, what they are good at is grabbing a hold of your skin, and meaning that you have a very good grip on the razor even if it gets wet and even if it gets soapy. Now this is so light over here that I'm just going to take the brush and just kind of redo things. And that part of my face is probably going to really appreciate it. The cool thing about the bowl is that you get the same awesome lather for all 3 passes. 24 hours of growth is what we're dealing with here. But the disadvantage to the bowl is it just takes a little extra time. Some guys don't have that or don't want to take it, and that's fine. I usually do. I like the bowl. I'm going to say that on average, making a bowl lather kind of adds about 10 minutes to my shaves. Just kind of seems to be, without getting all analytical and looking at certain data. I just, as I'm doing these face lathers over the last few days, that's about the time I'm noticing differences in the length of my videos. All right, there we go. I'm gonna rinse. All right, we're all rinsed, kind of an excess of water on my face right now at least. Notice it is kind of an airy lather right now that's on the side of the brush. But I think in the fibers, we've got some good stuff that we're going to coax out with these passes here. Brush feels great. I've got some Boar brushes that I really do enjoy. The Smoke Owners Club is terrific, but as it's kind of a smaller brush, and as I splay it out, it almost feels like there's less bristles. So I thought, you know what? Whip Dog has a Boar. Why don't I try their Boar? Maybe it will be, because I think the knot diameter is a little thicker. Maybe it will have more hairs, and maybe it'll be an acceptable Boar brush as well. So that's why I have it. Lather's feeling very nice on my face. Okay, now let's just switch to painting. This is almost to the point where I think I might need to add a little bit of water. Now the lather around the brush hasn't really changed all that much from what I showed you a second ago. But notice it kind of has just as much lather, if not more, than I showed you. So what that means is we've got soap inside the brush that is hasn't really been activated into lather yet, which is fine. All right. So I don't think that first pass was as bad as my one yesterday. Well, this pass, I feel very protected. I have a lot of glide. I don't really feel like going cross grain right now. Very comfortable. If you haven't watched any of my other dart videos, for me, this is an aggressive razor that is too aggressive. Unless I bring the handle angle in on pass number 2 and anything beyond that. If I leave it out kind of at the normal place that gets maximum bite, then I end up with a very uncomfortable shave, and I don't even like want to finish the third pass. Very light stretching on my neck to get all that done. Didn't really end up with a great result yesterday, but I did a touch-up. The touch-up after the third pass didn't really get me anything, so I just, let it go. All right, rinse time again. Based on that pass, I think I'm definitely going to leave some water on my face, just kind of some excess drops. I think it needed it before, so I might need it even more now that we're on the third pass. Just a light, not a great lather. It's workable, but not great. So but when I start lathering on my face here, it turns that airy lather and brings it into more of a creaminess with as I'm working on my face here. Feels very good. Can't really smell it while I'm using it. If I stick my head or my nose right up on it, of course I can smell it. And at this point, this soap has weakened down a little bit to just a nice light soapy clean scent, to me at least. First maybe 3 or 4 shaves was too strong of a citronella scent for me. I'm glad it backed off a little bit. It just kind of smells like classic shave. Holding the razor very lightly. Just trying to let the blade contact the skin only enough to stay on the surface. Careful around here, and now I discovered that with this area I need to do a motion like this for the second and third passes. Now, I have gotten no irritation many times from this razor. Most of the time, It's very rare. However, it is on the edge for me to where if I'm careless, if I see a little soap over here and I go over there and if I'm not careful with my technique, I could definitely stir up some irritation that way. But what that also means, and what it turns out to mean for me, is that I've actually gotten some of the best shaves, closest shaves consistently with this razor. That's usually what happens with those on the medium aggression and higher level is, yeah, sure, some people it's going to cut up. Sensitive skin people may need to avoid them. But for those who can master the technique and tolerate the aggression, they'll end up with the closest shaves they've ever had. I do short strokes, especially around the curvy parts of my face and neck, because then it's easier to make adjustments. And I listen for whether it's cutting or not. If I don't feel it cutting, I'll lift the handle out just a little bit. If it's maybe cutting too much, I'll bring the handle in, and that helps it to come under control. It's like having a magically adjustable razor. So yeah, again, I do have a good many hairs right here that are showing their tips and some visible length, and so maybe, I don't know, around use number 14 of this blade, I've had to start doing the touch-up where the very first 7 or 8 I did not have to do any touch-ups past the third pass at all. So we have some, we get it a little wet, and we have plenty of soap to do this with, and we're just going to be light and try to work on our technique and angle and all that stuff. Don't need to go down here. Oh, looks like maybe a little something right there. I mowed the grass today. Wonder if a tree branch got me right there. It could be razor burn. Sometimes this area below this crease it doesn't really have any shapeable hair. And if I do go lower than that with the razor, I get razor burn. All right. Don't really need extra passes over there, but just right there should be about right. All right, I think that'll have to do. So I mentioned Austere August before. If you don't know, if you're just chiming in, it is a month where some of us in one of the online communities, just pick one set of gear. Sometimes it's just one soap. Sometimes it's a soap and a blade, or a soap and a razor and a brush, just to maybe, like in my case with the Boar brush, give it more uses, let it mature more. With the soap, it might be because you want to learn how to use it better. That's what I'm doing with Williams. With a razor, maybe it's one that you need improvement on. Maybe you haven't found that right angle, correct angle for it. Austere also has a aspect where it's just don't stay basic and don't use so much extra fluff. Get down to the basics, not something expensive. Or maybe if you have a tub that you want to use up, and because you keep switching from one soap to another, it's been very slow to kill that tub. And Austere August is a great time to do that. A lot of times you'll pick up extra, you'll improve your skills because your variables are more condensed. Not as many variables, and all of a sudden the only difference is maybe the lather that you're making or your angle of your razor. Normally I like to make sure my bores dry out really well between uses, and so what I do is I'll use the bore I'm working on will be every other shave. That way it gets nice and dry between shaves, but obviously with Austere August I can't do that. But then it's working out fine, I think. I think it's gradually increasing in splay. Be interesting to look at the videos and pictures from the early part of the month to see if it is starting to bloom out. Now let's do the stuff here. It's kind of like a gel. It does have a little alcohol. And so if I've had a bad shave, it'll sting in a few places. A couple times I've had really good technique, and apparently, and so I'll end up with a nice close shave and I get no stinging from the alcohol. It's pretty cool. Little bit of irritation down here. It's rare this month. Probably my technique going a little too far off the beaten path, perhaps, because right here I don't think has any shaveable hairs, but a good shave. Closeness, let's see. Nah, I still see a good many hairs there that have some length on the tips, so I think it's pretty clear that the well, it could be the lather. The lather is thin. And airy and stuff here. It's comfortable in the brush, but it'd be nice if it were more comfortable with the blade and the razor. I think what I might do is switch back to a known formula for a bowl lather, get it all creamy again next time, and see if the results change at all. Which means that it's not really the blade that's degrading, it's just that these face lathers that I've been doing haven't had that cushion to help protect my face and provide a closer shave. Who knows? That could be part of it. It could just be that the blade is 20 uses old, you know. I think it'll go to the end of the month though, so that's pretty cool. All right. This is good. It was good. It was better than yesterday. It was better, so that's a step. But there was more soap left in the brush, and so in a sense it's a little bit more waste of soap if that's your main focus, but it's a cheap soap, and so letting a little bit go down the drain is not a big deal. So we'll see what we want to try next time. I think I'll do the bowl lather and see if that helps me out. Anyway, I hope this helps you out in some way. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and it's time to go to bed. It's late. Take care.